That's why everyone comes to me, right? They're like, can you give me money? Can you get me money? I have a great script. 9 times out of 10, they do. There's such amazing minds out there, but how do you do it? And I think there are a couple of different things, which is one is this: our industry has always been reliant on investors and reliant on somebody else who's going to call the shots.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from somewhere in New Zealand, it's The Global Show with your host, Dave Benson.
All right, thank you. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to The Global Show. Yes, that's right. New name, new year, same face. It is 2026, and apparently everything's changed. The world, the internet, the show name, but somehow my bald head still survived. That's right. I'm your host, Dave Benson, and this is officially the #1 independent talk show on the planet. Hence the name, Global. I checked twice on the internet, so must be true. Man, where did that holiday go to? 1 minute you're knee deep in turkey and mince pies, telling yourself this is the last one. The next thing you know is fireworks and a brand new year, and you can't remember what day it is or why your genes are so angry with you. But that is not the big question. That's not the question we all want answered. No. The real question is, did the Proclaimers ever actually walk 500 miles? Because I've got a thought about it. And then I thought about it a little bit more, and then I'm calling nonsense. First of all, 500 miles is a long way. Secondly, they then say that they would walk 500 more, which is not confidence, that's poor planning. Also, they never say when. They never say how long it took, and they definitely didn't release any of the Fitbit data to prove it. So until proven otherwise, I'm saying they walked about 6 miles, stopped, had a pie, and then wrote the rest as a chorus. And on that note, let's kick off the monologue. Gears engaged, pressure steady, system at peak performance. Standing by. Right, let's catch up on the news, because apparently the world didn't stop spinning just because I switched off my phone and ate an entire ham. First up, Michigan released its annual banished words list, and this year the word they're cancelling is 67. Now, if you're over 30, that sounds like a postcode, but no, it's a Gen Z phrase that apparently means nothing, everything, or I don't know what to say, but I want to sound mysterious, like a horoscope, but lazier. We're just 1 year away from teenagers just saying, and claiming it as a personality. Next, this is a great story, Tom. A kayaker in Chile was scooped into a whale's mouth and spat back out. He's fine, a bit wet, slightly re-evaluating his life, but now he's the only man alive who can say, I got swallowed by a whale without being accused of a biblical cosplay. And the whale, well, apparently not impressed, took one taste and went, ew, human. Vegan diet starts now. Speaking of creatures of the deep, CBS accidentally cut away from their New Year's Eve concert to show a full episode of Matlock. Middle of the show. Boom! Suddenly it's a courtroom drama from 1987, and no one at home even flinched, because that's how weird New Year's Eve TV's got. 1 minute you're watching people lip sync on a fake rooftop, next minute it's Matlock cross-examining someone in a beige suit. Honestly, smoothest part of the broadcast. Meanwhile, the first Karen of 2026 has been crowned. It's January 1st. She's out at Red Rock Canyon, sees a tourist taking photo and just loses it. Starts yelling, climbing on boulders, blocking views. Even her husband was like, honey, maybe we don't need to escalate this with a rock. The internet crowned her immediately. First Karen of the year. We're barely out of the champagne fog and boom, she's already trending. If you watch CNN on New Year's, you might have caught Andy Cohen giving his annual Too Many Mimosas speech. This year he went in on New York's Mayor Eric Adams, calling him chaotic and horrible, live on air. Adams responded the next day with and I quote, another sloppy drunken rant. Honestly, it's the most coherent debate American politics has seen in a decade. Just two men arguing with the energy of a failed brunch. In comeback news, BTS are returning this March. That's right, the boys are back. Military service complete. They're fans, they're BTS army, or they're already planning the resurrection of the global internet. I saw one girl faint just from hearing the word March. Another one printed 700 stickers of Jungkook and taped them to her neighbour's cat. It's going to be a big month. At CES, tech is off its head again. First, they unveiled an AI-powered bird bath, a smart bath for birds. Now, this live streams your robins in 4K, recognizes 6,000 species, and then sends you footage of the birds that you didn't even know existed. Meanwhile, I can't even get my toaster to stay down. And if your knees are feeling festive fatigue, there's some great news. They've built a robot exoskeleton for your legs. Now, this is called the DN-Sys Z1. It helps you climb stairs and hills without exploding. Basically, a Fitbit crossed with RoboCop. I want 3. 1 for each leg, and then 1 for emotional support. In Theatreland, Alex Timbers has 4 shows running at the same time on Broadway. That's not talent, that's witchcraft. I can't even schedule a dentist appointment and a haircut in the same week. And this man's staging Moulin Rouge, managing Here Lies Love, ordering a coffee and rehearsing Beetlejuice in his sleep. Give him a cape, he's earned it. And finally, a yellow lab named Phoenix fell through the ice in Rhode Island on New Year's Day. Don't panic. Firefighters rescued him. He's completely fine, wet, confused, slightly embarrassed, but safe, and probably telling the other dogs, "You guys ever done a cold plunge? Changed my life." Let's kick into the YouTube news. YouTube's AI moderation went nuclear. 12 million channels gone in 2025. That's like evicting an entire village because one guy played copyrighted flute. That said, most were spam, but some poor guy filming a salad just disappeared mid-chew. Then came the AI slop wave. 21% of videos shown to new users are now bot-made nonsense. Minecraft clips narrated by Siri talking about Elon Musk's dream journal. It's like watching a TED talk written by an electric toothbrush. YouTube also upgraded thumbnails to 50 megabytes, which is great if you're desperate to see someone's panic face in 4K. At this point, thumbnails now look better than the actual video. My own channel now has more pores than my real face. Jacksepticeye cancelled Thanksmas. Some people said he needed a break and he didn't want to ask fans for more donations when times are tough. Honestly, that's just leadership. Most creators would have a charity stream from the back of an ambulance if it meant more views. Meanwhile, Mr. Beast turned into Santa and gave away 10,000 presents. He even restocked an entire food pantry because his donations ran out in 2 days. That's not YouTube, that's an economy. YouTube Shorts hit 50 billion daily views. That's more than most countries have opinions. At this point, if you blink twice, you've accidentally watched 14 raccoons doing press-ups. Sideman dominated the UK holiday charts. They've uploaded everything, played everything, yelled at everything. One video was literally titled Christmas Chaos. That felt like an understatement. Tom Scott said goodbye to regular uploads. The nation wept politely, then Googled what a cantilever bridge is, just to feel close to him. Super Resolution launched, so now your grainy vlog can be transformed into something resembling Blade Runner, or at least Blade Runner's deleted scenes. And finally, YouTube is cracking down on VPN and spoofing. If you've been pretending to live in Switzerland to boost your CPM, YouTube knows. They've got your IP. They've seen your IKEA receipts. Let's have a look at the podcasts. Let's start where it hurts. Trevor Noah just announced a new podcast. Comedy, guests, topical chat, talk show style. Wonder who's been doing that already. Any ideas, Tom? No, me neither. But hey, welcome, Trevor. We're not bitter. We're just observant. You go ahead. Bring your big TV watchers with you. Stephen Bartlett continues to outwork time itself. Diary of a CEO is now a chart topper, a book, a tour, probably a protein bar as well. Louis Theron launched a podcast, and it's brilliant, whispery, thoughtful, deep. I listened to it and apologise to the houseplants. Sorry. Daniel Fishel started Teen Beat, a podcast where celebs read their embarrassing teenage diary entries. Yes, please, I need this. I also need to burn every MSN chat I ever saved. Spotify and Apple now offer AI-generated transcripts and chapters, which is great unless your accent triggers the bot to write inaudible screaming every 10 seconds. Podcast live streams went big over the holiday. Ludwig raised $1 million in a day. Zoe Sugg hosted a Christmas concert. And somewhere, a Sopranos podcast caused actual tension in New Jersey. Ad revenue hit a record high, which means millions of us were sold mattresses, meal kits, and grief counseling during a true crime episode. That's balanced, that is. The off-menu New Year's special was complete chaos. Someone said mushy peas and the room nearly evacuated. And finally, 2026 is shaping up to be the year of podcast neon signs, AI highlights and podcast filming in 3 angles for TikTok shorts. We're officially in the does your podcast even exist if it's not a video era? So let's summarize. We've told you about YouTube banning half the internet by accident, AI taking over thumbnails and transcripts and probably Christmas, Jacksepticeye cancelling Thanksmas, Mr. Beast becoming Santa with a private jet, Trevor Noah casually copying our entire format, Steve Bartlett becoming the new BBC, and Louis Theron whispering his way to chart dominance. And now it's time to tell you about our guest. She's an amazing artist and she's going to absolutely blow you away. Tom, roll the titles. Our next guest wears more hats than most of us could dream of. Producer, actress, writer, and even real estate investor. She built an incredible career balancing creativity with business smarts, invested in projects and people that push boundaries, from acting in and producing works like As I Lie Awake to co-coordinating indie series and shorts such as Sam and Diane. She's made it her mission to build a community of risk-taking creatives. Please welcome to the show, Zonsiluo Gompah. Did I pronounce that right?
So close. So close.
Oh.
So the first name you're on target. So I'm called Silo for short, but it's Zonsiluo, which is like 4 syllables, Zonsiluo, and Gompah.
Right.
But you can call me Silo.
Zonsiluo Gompah.
Yeah,
is that
very
right?
good. Very good. You got it. You're good at this, Dave.
Whew. Jeepers, that's it. Thank you for watching, everyone. We'll be back next week with more. How are you?
I'm good. I'm very, very good. How are you doing?
I'm very good. I've got some important questions for you, Silo. Are you ready?
Taking a deep breath. Okay.
All right.
I'm ready.
All right, let's prepare. Let's get ready. All right. Okay. The first question. So you've done all of this amazing work. What are you going to be wearing tomorrow for Halloween?
I was asked that already today. I do not celebrate Halloween. Nothing against it. I just actually have a life that does not love celebrations. I'm pretty busy, so I'm just going to. I don't know. I haven't even thought about it. Nothing whatsoever. I'm gonna work.
Nothing?
I'm gonna work. I'm probably gonna try to eat some candy. And I will be wearing, I'll just wear a dress just to be fun.
Nice. I like it. And over there it's Thursday afternoon. What does Silo do on a Thursday afternoon? Is it preparing for a party on Thursday night? Is it quiet time? Or?
Yeah, Silo's an introvert who spends way too much time with people. So I really love my quiet time, but I do spend a lot of time. So today I have a meeting a little later. I'm in LA, so right now it is going to 3 p.m. And so I have a meeting at 3:30. Have a couple of calls scheduled, and I'll probably work until like 9 or 10 tonight, just to get some things done.
Let's roll it all back, Silo. How did it all start? What did little Silo want to become? Like when you were a child, did you always want to get into this industry, or was there something else?
Yeah, I was 8 years old, and someone asked me for the very first time what I wanted to be when I grew up, and I said, an actress, and that was it. And so since that day, it's always been a bunch of other stuff that I was interested in, but never ever stepping away from this career and this industry. So, it's by the time I was like maybe 20, I was in school for production, and I was thinking about it, and I thought, oh, you know what? This might be fun too, production. To call the shots. And so now I do both, and I do those right? So there's always something that pulls my focus for a little bit. I love education. I love so many different things.
And what about the real estate? Where did that come into it?
I think there was a point where I don't even know what's got me interested in real estate. I think probably the same thing for a lot of people where, you hear that real estate is something to do. And I also
Hmm.
realized a lot of actors own properties all over the world, all over the world. And I started realizing, oh, wait, you could do this. And is a great stable way of living. And, like having properties. I love houses. I love architecture. So literally every place I walk into, I want to buy it or own it in a way. And so it just kind of, it took me a while to actually just like pull the trigger. I would go and like look at places and, especially because I'm bi-coastal. So I was like, do I buy in Buffalo, New York, which is my other coast really, or do I buy in LA? And so I'd go there, I'd do that for a while. And then finally one day I pulled the trigger when things were a little quieter. And I've been doing that. And I enjoy
Hmm.
it. I really enjoy real estate and I love the things you can do with it. Also, I feel like it's actually a very good business model for us creatives, right? Like there's a bunch of things that are done in real estate that
Hmm.
you can apply to um to this career. And I don't think that people apply it enough. So
Nice. I like the diversification. That's awesome.
thank
And
you.
talking about that, you juggle so many things. So you got producing, acting, writing, along with the investing. How do you manage all those diverse roles?
I don't. Uh, I mean, there are times, and like people know this, like sometimes it takes me forever. Like I'll like have to, for instance, in LinkedIn, I get a lot of messages. And so there are times
Hmm.
I bookmark messages and I go back later, and so a month later, or even like right now, I have a few that are 3 months old. Do you know that I was just like, you know what, bookmark it.
Hmm.
You have to wait in line because there's just no way I can look at you right now and do the things I need to. And I want to go in with a fresh mind, to be able to like talk to that
Yeah.
person and find out what's going on with them. So there's a lot of that. And then, periodically, I do have a team. And so periodically like I hire more people or I remove people depending on what's going on. And I tend to revisit, where it was. So it's like if there's someone I worked with for a while, I'll probably go back at some point and go like, okay, we're now moving on to another phase and I need you again. Um, but yeah, no, I mean
Yeah.
you have to love working. And to me, like some years ago, I was dating somebody who hated working, and he was just like, like I want to have fun. And I said to him, do you know what fun is to me? Working. And so that's it, so having that mindset allows me to balance those hats, but you can't do it all at once. I heard this quote this year and it said something like, you can have everything, not at the same time. I think it's beautiful.
That's true. That's so true.
It's yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of, that's just the key to it. You have to figure out what is important right now. There are moments I'm like, oh, I really want to do this, and I just have to pull back. This is not now. I have to finish up this thing and make sure it's doing what it needs to, and then go back to the other thing.
Who's the best worker on the team, CeeLo? You can tell us. It's all right. I won't tell them.
You know what? Luckily, everyone has their strengths. So Halima, for instance, is on my
Ah,
team.
diplomatic.
Halima is the most creatively talented person I can think of. Do you know, like she goes head to head with any writer. She's an amazing actress. She's an
Right.
amazing, director. She just really gets the layers. And even though I think that I have talent, she, she far surpasses me in that category. Um, but I think that I'm gonna give myself some kudos. I think I'm a visionary, and when you're wearing the visionary hat, you're allowed to not be very good at administration.
I think you just put yourself behind Alima. I think you ranking Alima up there. So,
Yeah, well, you know what? You have to be with people who are better than you, though, right? Like if you're a visionary, yeah,
yes.
yes, you have to surround yourself with people who are better than you, and also people that you can trust with something. Because there are times like I mean I want to do a million things, right? And so I need someone who's like, you know what? I focus on one thing at a time, and I'm very good at this, and they can be like, nope, nah, no, no, and that helps to kind of keep me in perspective, and also it gives me something to also shoot for because I don't just work for myself.
I love it. I love it. Tell me about your upcoming project, As I Lie Awake. What drew you to that story?
It was a really, really good script, and it has changed the name as False Awakening now. And
Okay.
it started shooting this summer. It is it's a psychological thriller. So I would say the first thing is that the writer is a pretty amazing guy. He is now a friend, and so you fall in love with projects and the people who are behind them and the people who are working on them. And so he's super talented. His name is Ben Thompson. And yeah, no, I mean, just I've learned a lot from him. Like I hope he's learned something from me. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, he's amazing, and he just also opened up the world for us in certain ways because he was like, okay, let's bring bigger teams. So it allowed me to be part of teams I hadn't worked with previously. And yeah, I mean, it's a solid story though. It's very, very well done. And my thing always is that I want to tell a story that has a reason for being told. And so I love the richness of things that are relatable to us one way or the other, whether it's a theme or it's kind of talking about something that is a difficulty in our world. And so this kind of addresses that. I don't want to say too much because sometimes I feel like saying this, I might be giving too much of the story, but it is something that, there's some pains to it. And, like you really root for the lead, and, maybe it's not that good. Maybe it's not that good for him. Right. So, yeah.
I think you're leaving a special layer of intrigue in the air. I like it. I think everyone's going to be watching that one now.
Yeah, it's a good film. Yeah.
What do you think is the most challenging thing about producing independent movies in this day and age?
Money.
Money.
And I mean, and so it is. And I have a whole theory about that, right? Like, I mean, that's why everyone comes to me, right? They're like, can you give me money? Can you get me money? I have a great script, and you know what? 9 times out of 10, they do. Okay, like there's such amazing minds out there, but how do you do it? And I think there are a couple of different things, which is one is this: our industry has always been reliant on investors and reliant on somebody else who's going to call the shots. And then it's also shifting in a world that's also going through some financial upheavals, right? And so this becomes it becomes particularly difficult, than it was even like a year ago or 2 years ago. And we also have an industry that keeps on shifting. The rules are shifting. They're shifting because, there's just so many variables right now. A lot of changes happening and happening very quickly, whether you're talking about AI or you're talking about the financial world, or you're just talking about the rules of the industry where there's, especially if you're dealing with people who are very big, like they've done quite a bit. There's such a play now for those people more than there ever was. Nobody wants to cast a bunch of unknowns, which I think is a problem, right? They don't want to cast unknowns. They want these names that have secured something. And a lot of those people are overworking themselves. They have so many different projects. And so you have a thing where like every 6 months, if you're trying to attach an actor, for instance, the rules and the expectations have changed. And I feel like it's the same with money. I think that the answer is people realizing, especially in a place like America, there's a lot of different ways to fund things and that they're in more control than they think they are, and implementing more business rules as they are here into this industry that's always dependent on somebody else. I think you have much more power than you think.
I think you've hit on a really good point. I mean, it's changed so much in the last 20 years, at least. Yes, with AI, but the green light yourself, the studio networks are no longer holding the pen for a lot of people. There's people making their own movies. There's all of the streaming platforms that open the breadth and width for people to now demonstrate their capabilities, show what they could get. The investments changed as to what they'll be looking to diversify and put those funds in. So I think you're bang on with that change that's come through.
Mm. And there's so much stuff that people don't even think about. Like, we have so much access to good equipment, and so there are a lot of people who still have these numbers that have to be very, very high, and they have to be very, very high for their first leg into something. While like a friend of mine was telling me about this guy he met who his whole bread and butter is that he makes $10,000 films. Okay, he makes $10,000 films. He must make a lot a year, and so it's like, I mean, he's already done like maybe 200 films. So I'm saying like he's probably doing like 12 films, who knows how many a year, and he puts them, on Amazon and all these different places. He makes money because they're coming out in at such a lower, like amount to make. So there's a lot more possibility, and he's able to do more and more and more. So that's not for everybody. And that's, not everyone's goal, but the idea that someone can do that. And you have to people have to wrap their heads around, especially when they're new, and they want to have more power and they want to have more control, to wrap their hands around the idea that filmmaking is just simply this, is that, do you have the people? Do you have the tools? It's not a question of money. It can be, but it doesn't have to be. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But where's it going to go in the next 10 to 15 years? Because we've seen this shift, and we're in an infancy right now. We've got technology we've never had. People have got 4K, and they'll have 8K, I'm sure, in the next few years on their phones. The ability to produce, edit, which people used to have lessons for. Now it's just something they learn on YouTube. And then AI. So before you'd need a whole cast to be able to fill a backdrop. Now you don't need that anymore. You've got AI. So where does it go in the next 10 to 15?
I mean, I feel like that's a hard question in that there's just so many places. I think what we're going to see is more ranges, where you have things that can be had for a lot less, as well as these big studio or whatever films that are starting to hit $1 billion. I mean, I think that right now the highest film ever made was 290 million, right? But they're going up. But at the same time, you've actually seen some films that, for instance, I was looking at the supposed budget for Passion of the Christ. It's just something that came up, right? And they're saying how the first one that was made for 30 million. And then they just did a sequel, I guess, a couple of years ago in the 2020s, and that was also made for 30 million. So what that tells you is increasing accessibility, doesn't mean that everything has to go up. And so again, we have this large range of possibility. I think we're going to see a lot more technology, which makes sense, of course. I don't know how AI is going to affect the industry. This is the thing I know about technology and things, things becoming, new things coming on the market. It eradicates some jobs and it creates new ones. That's just what's always been, and that's what you can expect. I don't think that means that you have to fear things, but you have to be adaptable. And so whatever's coming is really us learning how to move with the waves, figure out what we need to learn, and also knowing how, like finding ways for us to have our own path in it, and so that we can achieve the things that we want to.
I think it's just using it as a tool rather than relying on it as something that does the work for you is key with any of these areas.
I agree. I mean, I think, like when you watch a movie like Hidden Figures, the lesson there, I don't know, I mean, it's big enough, but it's all about these Black women who realize that with the coming revolution of the computer, that someone would have to do that work. That it didn't mean that they're all going to lose their jobs. They had to learn how to work those computers. And so,
Yes.
so it is, you know, and I mean, I do have, you know, I do use AI for certain things and I've looked at it and, you know, like it's kind of funny in terms of like, I was saying to someone this week, like AI is your worst employee. You know, like you ask it to do this and then it throws something in there that you didn't ask it to do. And so there's always seems to be a need for you to, you know, to be present with it and learning how to adjust with it as it also learns how to adjust with you. But you still have to control it, right? It doesn't just run by itself and give you the beauty you want.
I agree. I've found that when I've used AI for anything, I get quite frustrated because I say to it, can you make a picture of this? And I need this, and it doesn't do it. And then I'm like, come on, I said, do this picture. And then like 5 times later, it's still getting it wrong. And then I find myself getting angry with AI, but AI, there's no emotions there. It's like, I'll try again, Dave. Sorry. Yeah, it's so frustrating.
And I mean, if you can't control your own emotions with it, you're gonna feel like it's doing it on purpose, right? Because it's funny how crazy it gets. And I don't know, have you seen these like people will do these little videos and it's like AI, like the list of blah blah blah, you know, like I saw one and it's like the longest marriages in Hollywood. And then it gives you marriages of like 10 years. It gives you divorced couple. It gives you a couple that passed away 15 years ago. There's like 1 of 5 that actually made sense, right? And it almost feels like it's doing it on purpose. Like you feel like the person gave it that, but I'm like, you know what? I've used AI. I have a feeling they didn't give it that instruction. Like AI was like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. You know, like live with this. And so
That's how the computers are going to beat us.
Yeah. So again,
the computers are going to defeat us.
Yes. I mean, you know, like, thank God. I mean, it can't stand on its own. And so that just means that you get to go like, okay, I'm giving it this. Let's look for the problem. Now I need to solve that, you know? And so I think it's really good in terms of sometimes like gathering some research so that you can look further. It gives you some of this, you know? But it really needs someone who knows what they're doing to, for it to be successful.
Yes. Silo, we do some fast fire questions on this show. Okay. Are you up for some fast fire questions?
I am ready. I'm a slow fire person, but we'll try.
All right. What's the one thing you can't live without?
Water.
That's so practical.
I'm so sorry. I think about water all day. So yes, water.
The next question, coffee or tea? Or
tea.
Water?
I try to stay away from caffeine.
Tea.
Yeah.
What tea are we going with here?
You know what? There's one that Trader Joe's has and is ginger turmeric, I think, is really, really good. So it definitely would have to be something herbal, doesn't have very much caffeine. And I love a little sweetness or, you know, I don't know that I like kick, not spicy, but ginger is always good.
Nice. What's your favorite movie?
Lately, it's been The Water Diviner. Russell Crowe, I think it's from 2018, maybe 2019. I don't know that many people saw it, but it's such a beautiful, beautiful story. And do not watch the trailer, please. Just go see the film if you can, wherever you can. You know, like I feel like you know, trailers sometimes spoil all the surprises, and so I feel like the trailer for that one does. But it's a beautiful story, and it basically is about a story about a man who loves his family, and his sons are in war. This is the Turkish Australian War, and is like 1919 or something, and he goes to find his sons. I mean, oof, you know, like so much.
I should look out for that
emotion. Yeah.
Love it. What's the last song you listened to?
One of the latest was Was it Lose You to Love Me by Selena Gomez?
Oh, I know
Yes.
that one. Yes.
Yes. So that was maybe the last one or second to last one.
What's a hidden talent that nobody knows about?
I was very athletic. Kind of was. But yeah, very, very good at anything that, yeah, any of that stuff. I mean, I once played a game of volleyball with some friends and I was really mad. So I just kept on serving and they couldn't get it. Serve, 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 serve until I got to the last serve. And then I laughed as I was serving and it went, haywire, but I was perfectly fine. I was happy.
I love it. Do you have a book that's changed your perspective?
Oh, I'm just gonna say a silly one from years ago. I mean, definitely Rich Dad, Poor Dad, right? The way I use money and look at money is really, really different from a lot of people. And that's why I think also I look to other fields of business to feed into the one that I have, right? Um, yeah, I mean, I just, I invest a lot of money, because I'm trying to build things. And not just build them for myself. I build them because I've always had a desire to be a philanthropist. And so I was 16 and I was like, I want to be a philanthropist. So at that age, I started doing things to give away. And so as I've gotten older, the desire to have more and do more and invest is all about feeding back into people. And so Rich Dad, Poor Dad, put me in the frame of mind to think differently about money. And I've read so many books since then.
What's the worst job you ever had?
So I canvassed for the rainforests at one point. Being me, I loved it. I loved it. I was so bad at the job though. So I had to knock on doors. And tell people about the rainforest. I worked it for 7 days. I did not sell to one person. Okay. I didn't have a watch. I didn't have a phone. And so I learned how to tell time down to the second, not the second, but to the minute. And for like 3 or 4 years after, you could ask me what time it was. And I'd be like, oh, it is 3:21. It's 3:14 right now. But, something like that.
That's your hidden talent, CeeLo.
That's my hidden talent, is to tell time.
Yeah. Yes. Ask her at any point, she can tell you it's 2:32.
It's helpful. Yeah.
It sounds it. I wish I could do that. What's your guilty pleasure snack?
Oh, I have two. I love grapes and I love gummy bears. And the reason I love gummy bears is because I love grapes. It's literally me going like, let's go for a bad snack because I really want grapes. And so, yeah, so it's, now I'm going back right into just having grapes and having as much as I want. I literally can eat 2 pounds of grapes, like in pretty much one sitting. Wow. It's just so good. So good.
I love grapes. What app do you use the most on your phone?
The most? Oh, okay. So this year I started watching vertical shorts, which really eats into the time of everything else I need to do. And it's probably the worst thing you expect from a producer. Like, I love vertical shorts, but I do. And I think it's kind of like it's giving an answer to people's short attention spans. And so I do watch vertical shorts every day. And so I have 5 different apps, but I try to mix it in with certain things. And I don't, maybe I don't watch as much, but I should be watching a full length movie instead. But this is what I'm doing. And they get a lot of time. And, it's like my phone's always like, you're doing this much on this app. And so I think they're beating out Instagram. They're beating out Facebook. They're beating out all the other stuff I used to use a little bit more.
That's a better way of using your phone, I promise you. If you could have dinner with 3 people all together, dead or alive, who are they?
So I have this weird habit, and I've been doing this since I was 18 years old. where I have this imagination thing, right? Where I'm in 1955 and I'm watching current things that are happening. I've been doing this all these years, watching current things that are happening with the actors and people back then. You know, and it used to be 1958. Like, I loved 1958, but then James Dean was dead. All these people were dead, and they were still in the room. So I had to remove them. You know, I had to kind of pull it back. And so it's 1955. So let's take a couple of people from that. Montgomery Clift. I don't know. I just would love to. I'd love to just talk to him and pick his brain and whatever. Let's get a little bit more modern. I want to say Mother Teresa, but some people hate her now. So that's kind of whatever. But I, you know, like I'd love to kind of hear from her in a certain way. And of course, Jesus, of course, right? Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah, fascinating conversation between those three, I tell you.
Yeah, like we wouldn't know what to talk about.
Final question. In one word, how would you like to be remembered?
Visionary.
Ooh, I like that.
Change maker, if I could. Okay, change maker or visionary, whichever. Yes.
Nice. Silo, what have you got coming up in the future? What can we all look forward to?
We have a film called I'm a Ronde. So, that's something we, you know, like, you know, it's our baby, right? And then I've been working on this TV show about my dad's life, and it's called Jay. And so those two things are the things I'm point out.
Love it. Silo, where would you like your details to be shown on the screen? Do you want them up, down, left, right, on my face? Where would you like them?
Anywhere. I don't know. Like, can you put them above my head? I don't know.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I'll put them right above your head. So for any details of what Silo's been up to, her upcoming work or contact, you'll be able to find it right there up above her head.
I don't know.
We're going to be back right after these messages. What's that, Tom? Are we sponsored by anyone? No, Tom, you know clearly we're not sponsored by anyone at all. Apple. Apple doesn't sponsor this show. Not yet. I just simply love the way that all of their devices integrate with each other seamlessly. And, you know, it just works. But no, they're definitely not a sponsor of the show. Yet. Oh, look at that, Tom. Look at that. Just working. What's that? Oh.